Good morning to you. It's Wednesday, the 18th of January 2012. Welcome to another United Kingdom talk. A bit of an epic show yesterday, don't you think? About 35 minutes. And an epic intro to my show today. Did you enjoy that one? That one might be a bit too long. I think all my new little intros and bits and pieces, I think that one might be a bit too long. I think we're going to have to cut that around a little bit and do something with it. But very nice anyway. Only $5. Okay. Right about £3.80, something like that for these intros. There's still another few to come. Okay. I haven't ordered. There's one more I'm waiting on. And I'm looking around for some more as well. Maybe you are talented. Are you talented? Can you make me a little video intro? That would be rather wonderful. Send it through. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk is my email address. I think it's going to be on tomorrow's show because we've got a bit of an epic email from the rather glamour kitten herself, Fag Ashley. That's coming up in today's show. As you can hear, the voice is still not back to normal yet, I'm afraid, boys and girls. So you'll just have to put up with my deep, sexy, husky voice, okay? But tomorrow, on tomorrow's show, I've got a wonderful piece of music for you, which I have received permission to play. It's a new song called We Are the Brits. And it's very, very patriotic. And if you're British, you should love it. Okay? If you're offended by being British, please don't watch this show because that just gets on my nerves. Okay? People who are offended, left, right and centre. It is all about being British. We Are the Brits. That's coming up on tomorrow's show. All right, boys and girls? Okie doke then. What about that captain of the ship? Now, what was his name? Francesco, oh, it's Italian, so I'll try and do it in an Italian accent. Francesco Schettino. Francesco Schettino. Ciao. What about him? He left the ship when it was sinking. He left the blooming ship when it was sinking. God's sake. I mean, we've all heard of that, jump ship expression, haven't we? I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've jumped ship once or twice myself when I've seen something going under. I absolutely have. But, I don't know what you think of that, really. Why would he leave the ship? I thought the idea of a captain, that terrible tragedy at the weekend, the Costa Concordia was the ship, got a bit too close and turned itself over on was it a sandbank or something underneath or a rock or something like that? I mean, it just amazes me how that can actually happen in these days. With all that technology on there, millions and millions of pounds worth of equipment on these huge boats. Thousands of people, almost on a floating village. Or no, not a floating village, a floating town. Thousands of people on these ships. And all the technology. And they hit a sandbank. Haven't they got things underneath, like what's that called now? Sonar. To measure the distance between the bottom of the boat and the ground. I just find it amazing how this happened, but I'm shocked that the captain actually left the boat before all his passengers did. Maybe he had to go shopping. I don't know. Maybe he thought, I've got to pop out and get some tea before this boat goes over. So I don't know. But just dreadful, isn't it? Dreadful. And, of course, all those poor people that died are just horrendous. I was listening to the radio on Sunday night on my way here and someone rung up and the host of, I can't remember who it was now, the host of this station, they were talking about this terrible tragedy business. And the bloke who had called in was saying, you are much safer on a boat. If a boat goes over, you've got more chance of escaping. Rather than if a plane blows up in the sky. Plane blows up in the sky, everyone's dead, aren't they? Very, very unlikely you will survive. If a boat goes over, still a chance, you know, you'll die. But you've got more chance, haven't you? You're not going to like drop out of the air and fall flat on the ground somewhere. You see what I mean? Of course, there's sharks and cold water and all that. That would affect you as well. But this, and he was saying, you know, let's be honest about this. You know, it's a terrible tragedy that X number of people died. I don't know how many people it was who died on the boat. Was it something like 17? I'm just looking for the news story and it doesn't actually say on here. But it was it was a very low number in comparison to the amount of people that were on there. I'm sure it was something like 17. Here we go. 29 missing. Let me have a look at people who died. No, it doesn't say on there, but I'm sure it was very low number. And of course, you know, for anyone to die in any circumstances is a tragedy, especially when it's an accident. But he says at least not many people die on that boat in comparison if it had been a plane. And this presenter went for him. Yeah, he just went for him and said, oh no, you can't say that. It's terrible if anyone dies. And I thought, well, he's just said that. You know, it's just so... It was one of those wishy-washy interviewers who's just so frightened of offending someone. No, well, why would someone have been offended by saying, you know, that at least not too many people died? You know, oh, no, you can't say that. What about the people who did die? It's like, oh, for Christ's sake, get off your high horse. Honestly, I don't know what's wrong with some of these radio presenters now. PC and so frightened of offending people all the time. Just get it out there. Say what you've got to say. For Christ's sake. Anyway, that's all on the boat. Have you ever been on a boat, by the way? I've been on, I think, one cruise. Been on one cruise? Yeah, I went one cruise years and years ago, actually with my best friend Ron. And I don't know if I should tell you this or not. Yeah, I will. I will tell you. I went on with my best friend Ron. This is about 10 or 11 years ago. And we went around. The idea was with 2 weeks. A week cruise and then a week in Mexico, right? And we went on this cruise, visited some countries. I think Jamaica, Honduras. Blimey, that's rough there. Jeez. There were guards everywhere. Guards with guns outside the bank and everything. Rough as anything. Now, you think you live in a rough place. It was rough there. And the food was wonderful and the ship was wonderful. The only thing is we had a bit of a row. And I came home early. We sit there now and laugh about it. We do. We absolutely do. But we did have a bit of a row. And I came home early. Oh, dear. I don't know what came over us, but there we are. And it was nice. And I remember being on there. I'm sure we had... right at the beginning of the trip, we had a training. What was it? A training, an evacuation type training thing, and we had to put on life jackets and things like that, so we would know what to do if the boat crashes or something like that. And that was right at the beginning. I mean, do they do that on these things? I don't know. Maybe it's the way that the boat fell over. I don't know. All righty. Nice epic email from... Oh, don't forget, once again, do watch the show tomorrow. I've got a wonderful music video to show to you tomorrow, okay? Hello to Fag Ashlil. Another epic email from the wonderful Fag Ashlil, who says, what were you on about the Flow show last week is filled by Lil's epic email. Well, it was, dear, last week. You had a whole show dedicated to your one email, dear. She said, that was only a short one. You want epic? Try this one for size. I hope you've got 20 minutes or so, have you? Good. Right, okay. Because it's another long one. For starters, I'm not keen on your new intro. Not that I don't like it, but it makes me think of some kind of computer killing game, which is so not you. Absolutely, we don't do computer killing games. They are boring. Boring. Sit there in front of that screen with a little joystick for hours on end. I don't think so. That's not me. She says, remember, we don't kill, we only torture. Yes, we're gonna round up a few of our dislikes people, I think, and start torturing them. And don't worry, you won't miss it. It'll all be here on United Kingdom Talk. I'm going to start going round in a car, just pulling random people I don't like off the street and torturing them for your entertainment. You see, nothing is too much for me. Nothing is. I'll do anything to entertain you, boys and girls. I do my best. If you've got any suggestions, anyone you want brought into the studio and tortured, and of course, what method of torture you'd like me to use, please do let me know, okay? Usual email address, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. If you wish to remain anonymous, that's fine by me as well. She says, if I was tuning in for the first time, I would think you hard and cold. Me? Hard? And cold? I'm not at all either of those things. Or maybe one. She says, now, although I know Ronnie, oh yeah, Happy New Year to you, thinks you favour the cold, I think it's best not to ask his opinion on how hard you can be. I'm just wondering where this email's going, actually. She says, obviously in a masculine way, such as, does he think you might start a fight? No, I wouldn't have thought so. He's the one that would start a fight. Absolutely. You want to hear the way he screams down the phone at people and out of his window to cyclists that have got too close to his car. It's a frightening experience getting in a car with Ronnie. It absolutely is. She says, the outro, there's quite a few different intros now. There's more coming. All about variety, you know, variety. The outro, however, I think is much more you. A bit sparkly and off this planet. She says, bollocks. Hang on a second. I had just opened a warm can and spilt it all over me. Oh, you're not drinking again, Lil. What about your poor liver? You know you're on the fourth one. Fag Ashley has actually had 4 liver transplants so far. She keeps wearing them out. She drinks so much. She wears out her liver. Endless amounts of liver. She's actually got a laboratory now near where she lives in Hove, which is near Brighton, that actually grows new livers. And she's had 4 of them so far. Christ knows where she's getting the money for these things. She says, OK, back. Where was I? Oh, yeah, the mental old woman special. You asked if I'd had a flu jab this year. She said, nah, I gave up on those about 20 years ago when I stopped getting pleurisy and pneumonia on a regular basis. These days, the pickling effect of the diet water and the formaldehyde from the bought fags seems to be the only things holding me together. That had probably a bit of gaffer tape around you. Have you got gaffer tape holding you together, Fag Ashley? She said, we won't mention the left lung. Oh, she's had it all, dear. This poor old dear, she's had the whole lot, haven't you, Fag Ashley? She says, I'm just like you in that I don't take random pills just because I've got a headache, but I've been so ill over the last couple of weeks. And she says, no, it wasn't man flu, though thought that was what I posted on Twitter. Because I couldn't believe a woman could feel that ill. I don't take pills as well, you know, Fag Ashley, unless the doctor tells me to. I do have pills in the morning, but the doctor tells me, take these pills or you die. Well, that's it. She says, I did, however, take some pills that a family member gave me. Oh, it's the worst thing you can... You shouldn't take other people's pills, dear. She said, oh, OK, don't worry, just over-the-counter type painkillers. Yeah, but do you know that for sure? The other family member might think you're worth a bomb or two, Fag Ashley. Yes. Might be trying to take you over the edge, shall we say. She says, well, I will never do them again. I was so spaced out, I thought I'd been given random off-the-street drugs with a bit of Vim or Ajax added. Well, at least you'll be clean inside, dear. Nothing worse than a dirty body inside or out, dear. And it starts smelling. Oh! Dear. Anyway, I'm feeling better, though I do seem to have a lingering cold. But thanks mostly to your good self and a certain Mr. Irvin Distiller. Oh, yes. Are you still with us, Irvin? I've heard from you from ages. Irving Distiller, are you still with us? He says, I'm feeling much better than this time last week. Someone did ask where the hell flu comes from. And this was my reply, though it does work better if you have listened to old Gary's Game on the radio. If you haven't, you can find at least some of them on YouTube. Old Harry's Game. Oh, I remember that TV show. Yeah. Was it a TV show? Oh no, it's a radio show, you say. I don't know. Here we go. Once upon a time, Satan was going about his business in hell. I don't actually know if Satan laughs like that, but it sounded appropriate. Which he generally meant telling demons how to torture souls. Oh, we might get a couple of lessons for him for when we bring in these vile people here to torture with. What do you want me to start with, by the way? What sort of people do we start torturing first? You reckon car clampers? I think they're pretty low life, aren't they? Car clampers. Yeah. Well, the ugly, fat, ugly gits they are, aren't they, eh? All right, mate. No, it costs you £250 to remove this plate. Oh, you don't want to be towed, mate. That's another £500. Thieving bastards they are, aren't they? She says, well, after millennia of doing it, of torturing people, the devil had got a bit bored himself. Anyway, while doing his rounds, this is the devil, or Satan, he did notice that some of the souls begged to be tortured by him instead of their given demon. Not a good thing for the Prince of Darkness to hear. You see, the demons weren't doing it properly. They absolutely weren't doing it properly. You know, people who are still alive actually paid people to be tortured. It's true. I've seen some very, very strange videos and pictures in magazines. I absolutely have. They pay £150 to have things done like... Well, I mean, I just don't dare tell her. Don't dare tell her. She says, on closer inspection, it transpired that all of the evil work was done by one particular demon, his name being Enza. Enza, the demon. Thinking that Enza may become a threat to his leadership, he kicked him out of hell. I mean, where do you go if you're kicked out of hell? That's a point. Does God take you back? There's just nowhere to go, is there? Because when you die, you're supposed to go to either heaven or hell. So if you get kicked out of hell, where do you go? Got nowhere to go. You become homeless. Yeah? Dreadful. Homeless. You're sitting there outside the gates of heaven and hell selling the big issue. That's what happens. Don't become homeless. Because you don't, it's not like when you're alive, you sell the big issue if you're lucky, you know, for a little while and then you get home. If you get kicked out of hell, homeless forever. Dreadful, dreadful dear. Enza flew from the tip of Satan's hoof into the abyss. Who knows how long he was there, but after the heat of hell and without his demon shape, he just floated until he found the first warm place he could seek refuge. Oh, I don't dare read this anymore. Is this going to start getting rude? I saw the words warm place of refuge. I dread to think what you're going to write next here. Well, carry on. His place of refuge was a human body. I thought it might be. Which end? Which end was it? His place of refuge was a human body who happened to be sleeping with its mouth open, so therefore, influenza. Ah! Influenza, do you get it? Oh, so is that what you've got to do? Just lie there with your mouth open and something goes in it? Pardon? Yeah, like a cup of tea, I meant. Or what did you think I meant? Well, you see, that's your mind, isn't it? It's your mind. Honestly. I might try that tonight, you know. Sleep with my mouth open. I do actually snore. Yeah. I have been told I snore. To this day, Enza continues to take pleasure in torturing humans, although he rarely gets the credit for his work, as demon name is seldom used, as our minds have chosen to try and protect us from the fear of him by referring to him as the flu. Okay, the flu. Regarding the eye, that's it. You know, that's it. That's influenza. That's where it comes from. I also mentioned about eye for eye punishments. You know, is that a good thing? And Lil says, regarding the eye for an eye punishments, you have to think very carefully about it, as it may not be as straightforward as it originally appears. Take the case in Saudi Arabia a couple of years ago, when a man attacked another man with a cleaver, leaving him paralysed. Under Sharia law, the injured man's family had the right to demand that the attacker was also paralysed. I haven't been able to find out what the outcome was. The last time I heard was the judge had agreed to the punishment and was trying to find a hospital willing to inject the man's spine to paralyse him. Oh, that's dreadful, isn't it? Can you imagine having a job like that? Injecting someone to make them paralysed. What dreadful. Personally, I think it would just burden the attacker's family and perhaps the state by them having to care for him. As the victim's family had been relying on him to support them financially, my option would be to force the attacker to work long hours and then take the majority of his wages and give them to the victim's family. Yeah, I mean, I could employ one of these people, couldn't I? To burn copies of my shows and hand them out. That could be a form of punishment. What do you reckon? Yes, no, yes, no, just a thought, just a thought. She says, talking of punishments, how about we get your air gun and use it as part of our torture routine? We force the evil ones into listening to my dreadful singing, not mine, Fagashlils, not mine, okay, not mine, Fagashlils, while taking pot shots at their feet to make them dance. We could also use a robot hoover to crash into their feet. Yes, they do exist. One brand that I have heard of is a Roomba. You program in what time you want it to work, how long for, and in what areas, and then every day it does the work for you. I've seen those robot hoovers. Aren't they wonderful? Robot hoover. They're a bit expensive, aren't they? Aren't they a few £100s for one of those? No, dear. I'll keep dragging that hoover around myself. I've got a few £100s to spend on the hoover. Oh dear, my cough is going to start. Are we going to have to finish this show early today? You asked about my regrets that we may have when we are about to die. Mine will no doubt be, bugger, I wish I'd fastened my shoelace properly. As I trip over it and tumble down the stairs, or alternatively, why the hell did I buy this as I trip over a robot hoover and crack my head? I do hope not, Fagashlil. Do let me know if you're going to go though, won't you, my darling? Relating to death, just before Christmas, someone on Twitter asked for ideas for an unusual Christmas present, but I don't think they were too keen on my suggestions of funeral vouchers. Now there's an idea. If you're stuck for something to get someone next Christmas, how about funeral vouchers? Huh? I don't see why not. I thought it was a very practical idea. We're all going to die, and have you seen the price of funerals these days? Well, it's not something I looked at, to be honest. It's certainly not on the shelves in Waitrose down the road. You can see that. You know, all these shops, they all got these little vouchers and things now in various supermarkets for this, that and the other, haven't they? Join this, pet insurance or whatever. Why not funeral insurance? I bet there's some in there that will say, have a look. I'll send one or two on to you, OK? Hopefully, before death gets us, there is the small matter of your pension. I've never bothered with a private pension, figuring I would never live long enough to benefit from it, given the lousy value of yours. I suggest you hurry up and hit 50, cash it in, and we can go on a Saga holiday together, though with enormous windfall you are likely to get from it, we'll only be able to afford Pontins. Nothing wrong with Pontins, Fagashlil. And actually, it's my birthday soon. Are you aware of that, Fagashlil? It's my birthday in just a couple of weeks' time. Yes. Only one more year. I can't tell you how old I'm going to be. I can't. Only one more year and I shall be hitting that magic half a century. Yes. Next month I will be 49 years old. God sake. But don't tell them. I tell everyone 39. I do. And they say, oh, are you that? Oh, we thought you were younger than that. Yes. Oh, yes, it's that youthful skin of mine. I think it's all to do with the cat. Cat stroking. Keep stroking your pussies, boys and girls, and you will look much younger. Do constantly stroking my pussy downstairs, I am. We can, of course, supplement the holiday fund with the mega profits from the sale of United Kingdom talk merchandise, the latest suggestion for a product being mugs. No one's going to buy these things, I told you, Lil. Two people, you and someone else, showed an interest in my hooded tops, but, you know, I'm not selling them. My nephew got my sister to make me one for Christmas. I wore it, and then someone said, can I get one of those? So I announced it, and two people, nothing to do with the money, all goes to her. She says, I know you've talked about mugs in the past and said it would be too expensive, but what if you get seconds? You know, the ones that have gone a bit dodgy in the firing and come out a strange shape. I'm sure you can get those cheaper. All we need to do then is print out a few pictures of your face. I can glue them to the mugs. You can sell them as ornaments, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem with the picture falling off in the wash. You could then market them as ugly mugs. Ugly mugs? Am I an ugly person? I know I'm an ugly person. You haven't got to tell me that, Lil. Talking of sales, I have to agree with you regarding the sale of sex toys in Boots. A lot of the designs these days are sparkly and eye-catching, just the type of thing young children are drawn to, and open-minded as I am, I wouldn't fancy trying to explain them to a young child. Then again, given the knowledge youngsters have these days, I would probably need a teenager to explain a few of the gadgets to me. Well, yeah, it's true. It's true. But as I said, as I've said, you know, all along, I don't think you should be selling these things on the shelves in Boots in full view of little children. They don't need to see these things at such an age. It's far too young to be told, oh, Mum, what's that? You can't. She goes on and says, seriously, though, as much as I think it's far better that society is as open as it is about so many things today, not like when I was young, there really shouldn't be any need for Boots to do this, as there are plenty of other shops where these products are available. And anyway, with the internet, you have a wider choice delivered direct to your door. Plus, I'm not sure I would like to choose such an intimate item when half my neighbour or local priest could be watching. Well, yeah, that's the other thing, you know, quite apart from everyone who's written into this show about this subject, quite apart from the fact that none of us want little children to be able to see these things, you know, in Boots. I mean, you know, even if I wanted one, how could you go, pick this thing on the shelf in full view of everyone and take it to the counter? No, absolutely not. I just go, no. No, you would. I think you're right there, Lil. You would order it off the internet. Or you would go to us. Everyone knows what these shops look like. They've got no windows and they're all blacked out, aren't they? You just go into one of those. I don't think Boots should be doing this sort of thing. She says, as for chopping bits off, I say, no, don't do it. We love you just the way you are. I think she's talking about bits of fat. Do we need to chop bits of fat off me? Why do you need to be a sheep and follow the crowd into doing the latest in thing with regards to your editing? Well, we're not going to. We're not going to. Not everything new is better than the old way. I think Top of the Pops in the 60s and the 70s, when they were experimented with all the psychedelic effects, I find they make it hard to watch what turned out to be important recordings of some artists. Yeah, I remember those effects. When you look back on them, I think BBC 4 are showing old Top of the Pops. Some of these psychedelic effects are bloody awful, aren't they? Oh dear. No, we're not going to do that. No one wanted us to try the editing, so we're not going to do that. She said, oh well, this has turned out to be not as long as I expected. Oh, I'm disappointed, Leo. I expected at least 4 pages on this email. But I've bored myself, so I think I will give up. No need to bore your listeners with it, but if you do feel like reading it out, may I suggest a bit at a time and not the whole thing, as we want your ratings to go up, not down. And that's from Lil. Thank you very much for another fantastic, epic email from Fag Lil. Maybe you can write one of those, or even a smaller one. Send your emails in. My email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Thanks for watching and listening. I'll see you on the next show. Bye-bye.